Jai. So let's start with the Mangala Charanam. You can say along with me. Om Jnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militan Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadeshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai, thank you. So, welcome everyone to this Sunday program, Gita Mandir, Ki Jai. And so, we'll be talking about Lord Balaram, since his appearance day comes up this week. It's going to be on Thursday. It's the Purnima, the Balaram Purnima. So we can begin our meditation on Lord Balaram, and of course Balaram comes, and then just a week after that, Shri Krishna Janmashtami. And then just, a couple of weeks after that? Radhastami. So it's one festival after another at this time of year. This is, of course, today is Ekadasi, and we're also starting, it's the beginning of Julan Yatra, which goes for 4 days, Radha Krishna Swing Festival. So, a lot of things going on. And of course, after Janmashtami, the next day is Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja. That's a big celebration. So, first things first, we'll talk about Lord Balaram, because he is the older brother, he comes first. So we have to honor him this week. So, Sri Balaram. Srila Jayadev Goswami composes a song in glorification of the Das Avatars, right? The Das Avatar Stotra. And we all are very familiar with the stanza that glorifies Lord Nrsingadev, right? Tavakara Kamala Varenakam Advuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. So that's the stanza for Lord Nrsingadev. There are 10 stanzas, and there's also one for Lord Balaram. So this is the beginning of it. It goes Vahasiva Pushi Vishadeva Sanam Jaladhavam. So we'll talk about what this means, because this is glorifying Balaram's transcendental form. So Vahasi means you wear, and Vapushi Vishade means on your brilliant white body. Your Vapu is white, snow white. In fact, brilliant white, like shining, iridescent white, a very transcendental white. And what does he wear on that body? Vasana Jaladabam. So Vasana means clothing, and Jalada means what?
Blue.
Jal means water. And Jalda, da means give, right? So what gives water? Clouds. So his Jalada, Jalada Abam. So Jalada means the color of a fresh blue rain cloud. So the clothes that Balaram wears are the same color as Krishna's complexion, like a dark blue, right? Sham, dark midnight blue, or like the color of a monsoon cloud, which is, if you're in India during monsoon season, you see these very black clouds come in bluish black. So you can always remember Krishna when you see that, because that's Krishna's color, especially when the lightning is shining through them and making it effulgent, right? So it's dark, but it's bright at the same time. And that's also the color of Lord Balaram's clothes. So this is what Jayadeva Goswami is saying here. And then the next one is Halahati Bita Milita Yamunava. So Hala means what? Plow. Right? Balaram is called Haladar. And Dar is like Krishna's Giridhar, right? So Giridhar means he who holds the mountain. Right? Giri means the hill, Govardhan hill, Giri Govardhan. And so Balaram is Haladar. He's the holder of the plow. So he has these two weapons that he uses when situation requires. He has his plow, and he also has a club. So he's also a Gadadhar. Lord Vishnu is also a Gadadhar, right? The holder of the Gada. So Halahati. Hati means striking. That he sometimes uses this plow as a weapon, right? To strike something. And what is he striking here this time? The Yamuna. So why would he strike the Yamuna, right? Yamuna is a sacred river, very dear to Krishna. Why would he be using his plow to hit the Yamuna? So there's one pastime where after Krishna already left Vrindavan, he sends Balaram back to Vrindavan to try to console the Rajavasis. And Lord Balaram spends 2 months at that time in Vrindavan. And everyone knows that Krishna has his gopis, right? He has the gopis of Vrindavan that perform Rasa Leela with Krishna. But Balaram also has his own gopis, separate gopis. So when Balaram's there, then he meets with his gopis, and then they're also having their pastimes. And during those pastimes, Lord Balaram gets the desire to have some water sports. But unfortunately, they're a little distant from the Yamuna at that time. So he's thinking, if Yamuna Devi would flow here, then we could enter the water and we could cool off, after dancing. So then he says, Yamuna, come here. But the problem is that, it's not a problem, but the situation is that Balaram and all the gopis had been drinking Varuni. So Varuni is this beverage that it's quite a tradition, at least in ISKCON, that on Balaram's appearance day, someone makes a big pot of Varuni, and everyone gets to drink Varuni. So it's the one day of the year where devotees are allowed to get intoxicated. so Varuni, but it's not an alcoholic beverage, it's made with honey. So it has a lot of honey. And if you take too much honey, then your head starts spinning. Anyway, so Balaram and his gopis had been drinking a lot of this honey beverage, the Varuni, and so they had become a little naturally intoxicated. And so then the river, because Yamuna is a river, but also there's a goddess, right? Yamuna Devi. So Yamuna Devi says, I'm not going there. He said, I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You have to obey my orders. She said, I don't have to obey the orders of an intoxicated person. So then when she said that, Balaram became angry and he picked up his plow. He said, oh yeah, well, if that's the case, then I'm going to pull you here. And so he put his plow on the ground and he said, and when I pull you, you're going to split into so many different branches, so many different tributaries. So then Yamuna became scared. She said, okay, no worries, I'm coming. So she went. So this is, Jayadeva Goswami is referring to this pastime, Halahati Biti Milita Yamunava, that due to the striking of Lord Balaram's plow, Yamuna Devi felt fear. Right? Biti means fear, like bhaya. So then then he ends Keshava Drita Haladara Rupa. That O Keshava means the Lord who has fine hair, beautiful hair. It says that sometimes you take this form of Haladar Rupa, the wielder of the plow, and that's Lord Balaram. Jai Jagadisha Hare, all glories to the Lord of the universe. So we can sing this together. Vahasiva Pushi Vishadeva Sanam Jaladhavam. Vahasiva Pushi Vishadeva Sanam Jaladhavam. Halahati Biti Milita Yamunabam. Halahati Biti Milita Yamunabam. Keshavadrita Haladhara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Haladhara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jai, very beautiful, thank you. So, Jai Balaram. So there's a line from the Padma Purana, Ramante Yogino Nante. Rama. So Rama is also Balaram's name, and Ram also means spiritual pleasure. So everyone is seeking pleasure. Right? The nature of the soul is that we are Ananda Maya Vyasat. We're naturally pleasure-seeking entities. But those who are intelligent, right? Those who are transcendentalists, who are yogis, right? Ramante Yogino Anante. So anyone who's a yogi, who's actually connected with themselves, with their real self, and connected with their source, the divine or the Lord, then they're not going to seek pleasure through sense enjoyment, through material things, but they're going to seek pleasure from spiritual life, from that which is ananta, anante, which is unlimited, which is eternal. Right? Like Lord Rishabhadev says that Nayam Deho Deha Bhajam Niloke Kashtan Kamam Arhate Vid Bujamye. He says that now that he's telling his sons, now that you've taken your human life, you've taken birth in the human form of body, don't just search out the same kind of enjoyment that the hogs and dogs that eat stool find in this world. You know, that's through eating and sleeping and mating and defending. Right? The animals get that enjoyment, but you're a human being. You deserve something much more. And then he says what that is. He says, Tapo divyam putrika yena sattvam shudyad yasmad brahma sokyam tvanantam. He says that you should be getting an eternal happiness, brahma sokyam, spiritual happiness, which is anantam, which is eternal. So that's what this verse is talking about. Ramante yogino nante. That the yogis seek out that happiness which is anante, brahma sokyam tvanantam. And how do they achieve that? So Lord Rishabhadev says, Tapo divyam, and putrikam, right? He tells his sons, my dear sons, do some divine austerity. In other words, do devotional service for the pleasure of the divine, for the pleasure of the Lord. And then that will gradually bring you to Shuddha Sattvam, to the platform of pure goodness, transcendental existence, wherein on that platform, you'll be able to experience this unlimited true pleasure of spiritual existence. So Balaram helps us to get to that platform, and Balaram is the source of that unlimited spiritual existence. So Krishna talks about this in the Bhagavad Gita, and this is from chapter 6. He says, in that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. So we all want to be free from miseries, right? Too many miseries in this material world, this material body and material situations and everything. So, but there is a transcendental happiness, but it has to be realized through transcendental senses, right? It's not realized through material senses. So the trick is that we have to give up the lower taste, give up the material sense gratification, and when we let go of that, and we come to the transcendental platform through Bhakti Yoga, through practicing Krishna consciousness, and then we get a higher taste of transcendental happiness realized through transcendental senses. And Krishna also says in this section of Bhagavad Gita, he says that when one achieves this, they feel that there is no greater gain. Right? There is nothing better than this, and then they never want to go back to material happiness, because they're like, this is the best thing ever. I've never experienced something so amazing as this. Right? So now here's a little way to help you remember how to get to this platform. And this is connected to Lord Balaram. So to get this Rama, or spiritual bliss, that's Ananta, unlimited. So there's a symbol for unlimited, or something which is infinite. It's this like a figure 8, right? Represents infinity. So usually put on the side, but if you flip it up, it becomes an 8, and then if you split it apart, it becomes 2 S's. So those 2 S's, first S stands for spiritual, and the other S stands for strength. So if we want unlimited, infinite, transcendental happiness, then we need spiritual strength. All right, so let's explore this topic of spiritual strength and how to get it. So first of all, we're going to look at, why do we need spiritual strength? What is spiritual strength? Who gives us spiritual strength? And how do we develop and exhibit spiritual strength? Sound like a good topic? Maya's very strong, right? So we need to be strong to be able to. Prabhupada said that when we come to Krishna consciousness, it's like we're declaring war on the material energy. So while we're in Maya, while we're just engaging our senses with sense objects, trying to get money and material sense gratification in this world, and then it's kind of like Maya has us under her control, right? We're totally just in the grip of the material energy, and so there's no fight. We're just totally surrendered to the material energy, right? It's like, yes, material energy, you just dictate to me, I'll just do whatever you say. You tell me to work hard and earn money and buy things, I'll do that. You tell me to, get married and have a lot of romance, I'll do that. You tell me to go to this restaurant and eat good food, I'll do that. Right? We're just dragged by our senses that are controlled by the material energy from one, frustration to the next. Right? Trying to find material enjoyment in a material body when we actually have nothing to do with this material world, right? As transcendent beings. So while we're surrendered to Maya, there's no fight, because if you're just going along with what somebody else wants, then good relationship, right? No problem. Except that you're miserable. But as soon as you start resisting and thinking, actually, no, I'm not going to live my life for sense gratification. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to actually try to live a spiritual life. I'm going to try to, control my senses and, refrain from some types of sensual enjoyment that are not good for my spiritual life, and whatever, and connect other types of sense gratification with Krishna, so that it's all dovetailed in Krishna's service, so that I can purify my desire for sense gratification. And then Maya's like, what? What are you talking about? Forget it. You're under my control. Don't forget that. So then it becomes a fight, right? And Maya is very, very strong, because Maya is Krishna's servant. So as long as we have this tendency for sense gratification, then Krishna's going to empower Maya. Anyways, so we need to be very strong, and we also need to get Krishna's empowerment on our side to be able to stand up against us. So Srila Prabhupada gives us some hints here. He says that, so first of all, why do we need spiritual strength? So that's what we're talking about. Prabhupada says, to advance in devotional service requires spiritual strength. So we have to be strong if we're going to make advancement, because this world throws a lot of obstacles in the path. If we're going to climb over these obstacles, we're going to surmount the temptations of the illusory energy, then we need to be strong. And Arjuna talks about this also in the Bhagavad Gita. He raises this question. He says to Krishna, O descendant of Vishnu, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? So sometimes we experience that, right? We don't want to do something, we know that it's wrong, but somehow or other we just get dragged into it. And before we know it, we're like, what am I doing, right? Like, how did I get in this mess? Like, I never wanted this. And so Arjuna's experiencing that, right? He's on the battle of Kurukshetra, and who wants to be in a war? So he's thinking, how did I end up here? And of course, it's a whole, the story of Mahabharata, that it's basically Duryodhana's lust for power, right? Lust and greed for power and position and prestige and opulence, that the battle of Kurukshetra came about. And then everybody just got pulled into it. So he said, what is going on here? What is it? What is this force that makes us do things that we know are wrong and that we actually don't even want to do? So Krishna says, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath or anger, which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of the world. So this is our enemy that we need to fight against, and this is why we need to be strong. And so Krishna ends this section by saying, by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. So Krishna is saying, you can conquer lust, you can conquer greed, you can conquer the lower modes of passion and ignorance, but we need spiritual strength. So that's why we need spiritual strength. And so spiritual strength allows us to go away from illusion. So the picture here is Durga Devi, right, who is the goddess of the material world. And she's sort of the administrator of the prison house. Sometimes she's the prison keeper. So sometimes this material world is compared to a prison, right, where rebellious souls are thrown. And so Durga Devi, if you've seen the deity of Durga Devi, she has 10 hands, and in each of her 10 hands, she's holding a different weapon, right? You can see here, she has like a disc, she has a spear, she has arrows, she has a sword, she has a club, she has all these implements of torture for punishing us here. Because in the prison, that's what it's all about, right? She's not giving us plates of Mahaprasadam and flowers and garlands. She's like, if you're in the prison, then you're getting, disciplined. So, but we want to move away from that, right? We want to get free from this prison of the material world. We want to get out of the clutches of this person who's just poking us and stabbing us and hitting us over the head all the time. So spiritual strength allows us to get away from this illusion and suffering and to go towards Krishna and Rama, the source of. So Balaram is Ram, the source of spiritual bliss, and Krishna is the all-attractive Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, Krishna is also the source of Ram. He's also the source of Balaram. He's the source of everything. Balaram is Krishna's first expansion. And so the two of them together are very blissful. And together they also give bliss to their devotees. So, what is spiritual strength? That's the next question. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. So so there's also material strength, right? When you strong body, strong mind, strong intelligence, but those are all material things which are influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. So Krishna is saying that spiritual strength is that which is devoid of passion and ignorance, which is not affected at all. So passion means the desire for material gain and name and fame. And so it's like different ways that people try to be strong. So if you think somebody goes to the gym, right, and works out, why? Because they want a strong body. And so when they get that strong body, then what do they use it for? Right? They use it for impressing others. Maybe they're trying to attract a member of the opposite sex, or maybe they're trying to just intimidate members of the same sex, that I'm stronger with you, don't mess with me. Or, right, so they're using it for material name, fame, gain, somehow or other. And then if you take it to a subtle level, there are yogis, right, who do penances and austerities to try to get strong, but they want to get mental strength, or they want to get mystic powers so that they can, for similar reasons. If they're not devotees, then they're using their mystic powers to, they can control other people's minds, they can get things that they want, like prapti siddhi, they can, And they can, to some degree, they can manipulate material elements and make some show to impress people, to attract people, to get power and influence over others. Basically to enjoy the world in different ways. So, this is material strength, but it's not the strength that Krishna is talking about. He's talking about spiritual strength that's free from passion and also free from ignorance. So the reason that we have passionate desires or material desires is because of ignorance of our real identity, because we forget that we're spirit souls. And we think, oh, I'm this body, I'm this mind, so I need a strong body, I need a strong mind. And we use these things to get advantages in this material world. But Krishna's like, no, the real strength is spiritual strength, which is used to connect with him and to experience, and that's the source of real happiness. So now we can look at how to get free from passion, so that we can have strength which is devoid of passion. And this is connected to Lord Balaram, because there's a demon in Vrindavan named Pralamba Asura, which is actually killed by Lord Balaram, and this demon represents passion. So let's see how Balaram kills Pralamba Asura. So as you know, Krishna and the cowherd boys go out into the forest every day to herd the cows, and Kamsa is a big demon who lives in Mathura, who since even before Krishna's birth has been meditating on how to kill Krishna, because he heard that this 8th son of Devaki, who was Krishna, was going to kill him. So he thought, I want to kill this boy before he kills me. So since he found out that Krishna is born, he's thinking, how can I kill him? And he's sending so many demons to Vrindavan, one after the other, to try to kill Krishna in different ways. And one of those is Pralambasura. So Pralambasura, he has the power to change his form. So he changes his form into a cowherd boy. And so he wanders out into the forest with Krishna, and he joins the ranks of the cowherd boys, and they're all playing together. And in this picture here, they're playing musical instruments, because the cowherd boys have their own kirtans, right? They've got kartals and mridangas and flutes and venas and wampers and bugles and buffalo horns, and they're singing and dancing in kirtan. So the boys do kirtan, and also sometimes they wrestle. So on this particular day, they decide to have a wrestling match. And so Pralambasura, he shows up at the wrestling, and just when they're about to begin their wrestling games. And Pralambasura is like a wolf in sheep's clothing. So he dresses up, he disguises himself as this very sweet, very gentle, playful, unassuming cowherd boy. But underneath, he's actually this horrible demon who has this murderous intention. And so, of course, Krishna and Balaram see through the whole thing, right? Like they're omniscient. As soon as they see this boy, they're like, all right, here's another demon sent by Kamsa. So they know. But the other boys don't know. So sometimes it's like this, right? That even our own material desires can sometimes disguise themselves as, spiritual desires or something good, something valid, something helpful. And so we need to have the vision to be able to introspect and actually look at our deeper motivations, right? Like, why do I want to do this? What am I trying to get here? Am I really trying to advance spiritually? Am I really trying to please Krishna? Am I really trying to help others, grow in their Krishna consciousness? Or do I actually want something else? I'm actually trying to get some material advantage from this service or this opportunity or something. So Krishna sees everything. We don't always see it, and others also might not see it, but Krishna's seeing everything. So, back to the story. So this Pralambasura, I forgot there was a sound effect there. So they decide that in this wrestling match there are going to be some consequences for the losers. So basically they're going to pair up, and one boy will wrestle against the other boy. So everybody has a partner, and the loser has to carry the winner on the shoulders. So whoever loses has to be like the carrier, and the winner jumps on the shoulders and has to carry them around. So that was what was decided. Everybody agreed on that, and then they matched up and they wrestled, and then Balaram was paired up with Pralambasura. So of course, who's won? Balaram. Krishna sometimes loses, but Balaram never loses. So Balaram won, and according to the rules of the game, Pralambasura had to carry Balaram on his shoulders. So Pralamba, he was actually very happy about this, because he's like, all right, now I have him on my shoulders, I can take him anywhere I want. So now let me just run off into the deep forest, I'll take him there, I'll just kill him very easily, and then I'll stay there and I'll wait, and Krishna's going to send out a search party, and he's going to ultimately come himself, because no one's going to be able to defeat me. So Krishna will come himself, and then I'll just kill him too, and that's done. Mission accomplished. This is what Pralambasura is thinking. And so he does that, but then of course, he doesn't understand who Balaram is. So he's carrying Balaram, he carries him far away, but then Balaram starts making himself heavier and heavier and heavier, and then, see, it takes a lot of strength for this Pralambasura to be able to maintain his disguise, right? He's using his mystic power to be able to maintain this disguise, but then the weight of Balaram becomes so much that he has to use so much strength just to carry Lord Balaram that he doesn't have enough strength to maintain the disguise, so then his real form starts to manifest. So that's what you see here. His real ugly, huge demon form starts to manifest. And Lord Balaram, who knew that he was a demon all along, is like, all right, now he's actually showing his demon form. So then Balaram's like, all right, well, we were playing a game and now it's time for game over. And he just hauls off and punches him in the head. And that is the end of Pralambasura. So, this demon who represents passion is dead by Balaram's strength. So when we take shelter of Lord Balaram and we just let him handle the situation, right? We pray to him, dear Lord Balaram, I'm so influenced by the mode of passion, and I'm always just trying to get some material, gain, some material benefit from everything. Please, just punch this demon of my passion in the head and kill it, make it go far away. So we can pray like this, to have spiritual strength, right? Actual strength that's actually, that is the actual strength of the soul, right? Because we're not these bodies, so really, material strength can be useful for moving things around, or, like that. You need to carry something heavy or do some hard work, but that's temporary. And mental strength also is helpful. We need to use our minds, we need to be, self-disciplined, so that's helpful. But what we really need is spiritual strength, to connect with Krishna, to realize who we are, to serve Krishna in a pure way that pleases him. So Lord Balaram helps us with that. And then how to get free from ignorance. That's the next question, because we were talking about how the whole reason that we want material things is because of ignorance of our actual identity as eternal servants of Krishna. So there's another demon that Balaram kills who represents ignorance. Does anyone know who that is? He's another Vrindavan demon. Dhenukasura. So one day Krishna and Balaram are again out in the forest, and the boys are herding the cows and they're playing as they always do. And then, so the boys are thinking, we've been playing a long time, and I think Krishna and Balaram might be getting hungry. And I know that there's a forest over here where they have these nice tall trees, and I can smell it from here. The smell of the tall fruit is very fragrant. And so if we could just get some of those tall fruits to offer to Krishna and Balaram, then they could be refreshed and they can be energized, and we can continue playing for the rest of the afternoon, no problem. So, but they phrased their request in such a way that Krishna and Balaram would respond. Because if you ask somebody, are you hungry? They're going to say no, right? Out of etiquette, right? Out of good manners. They say, no, I'm fine. But if you tell them, you know what, I'm really starving, can we get something to eat? And oh, sure, yeah, of course, let's get something. So the boys went to Krishna and Balaram and they said, Krishna, Balaram, we've been, climbing trees and running through these pasture grounds and herding the cows. We're so hungry, and we can smell those tall fruits. They smell so good. Let's go and get them. So Krishna and Balaram know that this Talavan forest which is one of the 12 forests of Vrindavan, is guarded by Dhenukasura, this demon who assumed the form of a donkey. And he doesn't live there alone, he lives there with all of his donkey associates. So there's like a whole herd of demonic donkeys who are living in this forest, and they're guarding the tall trees. And they're just so ignorant and envious, because the thing is, they hardly even eat the tall fruits. The tall fruits are just ripening and falling to the ground and just breaking and rotting on the ground. But they're so envious that even though they don't need the fruits, they won't let anyone else have them either. Right? They don't let any of the Vrajvasis go there and pick fruits. They don't even let the birds come and peck out the fruits on the trees, or the bugs eat the fruits. They just drive everyone away. These fruits are ours. So it's very much like, aham mameti consciousness, like I, me, mine, and mine. So of course, Krishna and Balaram had this desire to kill Dhenukasura and to open up the Talavan forest so that all the Vrajvasis could enjoy these fruits. And so from within the hearts of the cowherd boys, they inspired the cowherd boys to make this request. So it's all very harmonious here. So, the cowherd boys, they ask them, let's go, and Krishna, you'll have to kill all these Dhenuka donkey demons to get the tall fruits. And then Krishna and Balaram are like, all right, let's go, no problem. So they all go there, and you can see everything that the boys do is just fun. So on the way there, they're playing, they're climbing up the trees, they're walking along the branches, they're dancing and laughing. They're not afraid at all. They're going to kill this huge demon, and they're totally fearless. Why? Because Krishna and Balaram are there. So if we are with Krishna and Balaram, by always chanting their holy names, by hearing about them, by reading the books that talk about them, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, then we'll also be fearless, right? Because Krishna will be with us. So they enter this forest, and in the beginning, they're not detected because Dhenukasura and all of his friends are sleeping. They're taking their afternoon nap. So Balaram grabs hold of one of these trees and starts shaking it to get the fruits to fall down. So the ripe fruits, when you shake the tree, the ripe fruits all fall down and make this noise, plunk, 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 right? And they're falling on the ground. So tall fruits are quite large. If you've ever seen tall fruit, they have them in India. They're like this big. They look like a large round eggplant. They're the same color, right? They're like black. They actually look like an eggplant. And they're like big. And then if you open up inside, it's orange and it's fibrous. Yeah. So he shakes the tree, and these big fruits are falling down, and they're making this loud noise on the ground, and it's waking up Dhenukasura. So Dhenukasura hears, and then he comes running with all of his donkey associates coming after. And then, so he comes, and then he runs, he charges towards Balaram, and then just when he gets to Balaram, he turns around, because the way that donkeys fight is with the back legs, right? They kick, they rear up the back legs, and they kick. So he turns around, and he kicks his back legs, and Lord Balaram grabs hold of his feet before he can kick it, and he whirls him around, and then flings him high into the sky, and then he lands up in the top of one of those tall trees, and then more tall trees come falling down. In fact, the whole tree is falling down, and it's going on other trees, and all the fruits are falling, and all the trees are falling. And then after Dhenukasura is up in the tree, then his associates come and like, you killed our leader, we're going to all gang up on you now and get you. So they all come, and they all end up in trees as well. And Balaram's throwing them. Krishna's like, hey, I'm going to get this one, you get that one. And so they're having a good time. They're just whirling donkeys around and throwing them into the trees, one after the other. And the boys are like hiding behind the trees, looking like, oh, okay. So, for Krishna and Balaram, disposing with these demons is easy work. It's just like child's play, right? They're just having fun. It's all just fun and games for them. And getting rid of our Palambasura of passion, and getting rid of our Dhenukasura of ignorance within the heart. So, we're very lucky, and that's why Bhakti Yoga is so nice, because Bhakti means service to Krishna, service to the personal form of Krishna, as opposed to impersonalism, where people who are impersonalists, spiritualists, they they don't take shelter of the form of the Lord, and they just they do austerities and penances and shastric study and meditation on Brahman, right? The impersonal, all-pervasive energy of the Lord. But because they don't acknowledge or worship the personal form of the Lord, then they don't get the personal help of the Lord, right? Because Brahmajyoti doesn't have this ability to do all the things that Krishna and Balaram do. But when you approach the personal form of the Lord, then they get personally involved in our lives, and with their personal hands, they grab hold of our ignorance and whirl it around and throw it far away. And they grab hold of our passion and they punch it in the head and knock it down, like that. So, yeah. It says that killing demons like Pralamba and Denuka, Balaram exhibits spiritual strength that is free from passion and ignorance. So he's also very strong, right? Balaram means, right? Bala means strength. So we've been calling him Ram because he's the source of pleasure, but he's also Balaram. He's the source of all spiritual strength. And he exhibits his spiritual strength in his pastimes, but his strength is also free from passion and ignorance because obviously he's the Lord, he's on the transcendental platform. And he does everything for the pleasure of Krishna and his associates. Because Balaram is also as good as Krishna, right? They're both Supreme Personality of Godhead, they're both Vishnu Tattva. But Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Balaram, he considers himself, Prabhupada calls him the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead. So he's Krishna's first expansion, but he always considers, even though he's God, he considers himself the servant of God. So he's Krishna's best servant. And he also expands himself to become the holy Dham, right? The Goloka Vrindavan and Vrindavan Dham in this world is a manifestation of Balaram. All the paraphernalia that we use in Krishna's service, right? Even the pots that we use to cook in, all the utensils, the puja items, the anything like the books, book bags, the trolleys that you take books out and Sankirtan, it's all Balaram. Yeah, so the temple is Lord Balaram, right? So in trying to build a temple, you're trying to manifest Lord Balaram in the form of a temple and all the things in it, right? Every brick is part and parcel of Balaram. So we can all help with bringing this manifestation of Balaram to Frisco, Texas.
Very good.
All right, so then how do we get this spiritual strength? So another thing about Balaram is that he is the original spiritual master. Right? He's considered to be the Adi Guru. So there are some demons that are killed by Krishna and others by Balaram. And it's said that the demons that are killed by Balaram are the ones that we need to take help from the spiritual master and follow the spiritual master's instructions and actually make an effort. Right? Because spiritual master tells us, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. And so when we do those things, then by pleasing the spiritual master, then we can get free from passion and ignorance. And Lord Balaram appears in his most merciful form. In which form? Nityananda. Yeah, he also appears as Lord Nityananda, who is also called Adi Guru.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Lord Nityananda is the savior of Jagai and Madhai, right? Who doesn't consider who's qualified, who's unqualified. He's Patita Pavana. He's the deliverer of the most, he's the purifier of the most fallen. So no one can say to Lord Nityananda or Lord Balaram that I'm too fallen. I'm too much of a lost cause. Like, just there's no hope for me, because Lord Nityananda is the giver of hope to the hopeless. So if we take shelter of Nityananda Balaram, and then we have a chance. So then, what does this mean? That Balaram, the original spiritual master, gives us spiritual strength. How do we get that strength? So now we're going back to the S's. Remember the SS for unlimited spiritual bliss? We need spiritual strength. So there's another two S's here that come into play. That for spiritual strength, we need good Shraddha and Sadhana. So these Shraddha and sadhana, these statements come directly from Srila Prabhupada's words. And so he says that spiritually strong means to have good faith in Krishna and Guru. That is spiritual strength. So Srila Prabhupada literally defines spiritual strength as having Shraddha, as having strong faith. So Shraddha means faith. And then as for sadhana, Prabhupada also, he says, spiritual strength is the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra and following the rules and regulations. So this is sadhana. Right? Sadhana means our practices. So we practice every day, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, a fixed number of rounds every day, as a regular daily practice, working up to at least 16 rounds every day, and then also following the other rules and regulations, following the 4 regulative principles, and then observing the Ekadasis, offering all of our food to Krishna, and then doing our deity worship, our home altars, offering incense and various items, and all the different 64 items of devotional service that Rupa Goswami describes in the Nectar of Devotion, right? That's what he's talking about here with following the rules and regulations also. So, yeah, going back to our example of the person who goes to the gym to work out, they have to go regularly, right? It's not that you just go to the gym one time and you spend a couple hours there and you come out with like huge muscles, right? You have to keep going, right? A few days a week, every week, for a long period of time, and then finally, you start feeling some results. And these yogis also, in getting their powers, many, many years, right? Sometimes lifetimes, they undergo these penances in order to get their desired goal. So we have to do the work, right, of disciplined sadhana to become spiritually strong. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about this. He says that there are 2 demons killed by Baladev, but the contaminations they represent will have to be removed by dint of the devotee's own endeavors. This is one of the secret mysteries of Vraj Bhakti. So, yeah. So these particular passion and ignorance that are represented by Dhenukasura and Palambasura, we need to do the work, right? We can't just sit back and wait for Krishna to do it. There are other qualities that we just, we do our service, and Krishna he's in our heart, and he's, Shrimvatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtanam, Vidyantasto Yavadrani, Vidunoti Srihitsatam. So that just by sitting in the class, right? Like right now, you're not making a huge effort, right? You're just sitting here, listening to class, but there's a lot going on right now within the heart. Krishna's in the heart as Paramatma, and he's cleaning, right? He's removing our desires for material enjoyment. So it's almost like a little passive, right? There are certain anarthas that Krishna cleans away, and that just kind of happen automatically, right? Like also says in the Bhagavatam that, it's that verse, yes, yasti bhaktir bhagavat yakinchana, that all the good qualities of the demigods automatically manifest in the heart of a devotee by Krishna's grace. So just by performing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, there's many anarthas that just go away, and Krishna just cleans them, and we don't even know what's happening. Just like when you eat, you get energy from your food, it gets absorbed by your cells and used for all kinds of metabolic functions within the cells. We have no idea what's going on, right? You don't have to know, that's fine. It just happens automatically. You just eat and everything else happens. You don't need to think about it. We don't need to make an effort. We don't need to be like, all right, little, amino acid, you bind up with the other one and make a protein chain because I need to grow. We don't need to do anything to urge the process along. But then there are other things that we do need to make an effort for. So like that, some anarthas just go automatically, and other anarthas we need to actually work at. We need to make a conscious, intentional effort. And so these anarthas are the ones that are represented by the demons that Balaram kills. And so we really need to take shelter of Lord Balaram to guide us, right, as the original guru, and to guide us in the process. So that's why we need a living spiritual master that we can go to and talk to, and he can identify the room for improvement, right? He can point out to us that, all right, so you've got this challenge, this thing that you're struggling with, and he'll point that out to us and say, so this is what you need to do. Right, you need to do this service, or get this association, or read this, learn this. Give us some practical guidance for how to eliminate these anarthas. So by the grace of Baladev, or by the grace of Lord Nityananda, or the Adi Guru, we get a guru, right? Guru Krishna Prasadi by Bhaktilata Beach. And they guide us in how to grow our bhakti, how to grow it from a Bhaktilata Beach to a Bhaktilata creeper that goes all the way to the spiritual world. So of course it's the two things combined, right? Prabhupada writes here in the Krishna book, one cannot attain the supreme platform of self-realization without being sufficiently favored by Balaram. Bala does not mean physical strength. One must have the spiritual strength which is infused by Balaram. If one endeavors in a very humble mood, Krishna will certainly show his mercy. Then, upon the awakening of the mood of Sri Baladev in the devotee's heart, the contaminations will instantly be removed. So it's the combination, right, of our effort and Krishna's mercy, right? Especially for these particular anarthas. So we need to do our part. We need to do the work of intentionally focusing on areas of improvement and praying to Lord Balaram for spiritual strength, for mercy, and to be able to actually get free from these contaminations of the heart. So at this point I'll summarize here that we talked about Ramante Yogino Nante, that a yogi or a devotee gets unlimited pleasure through spiritual strength. And because that spiritual strength brings us away from illusion and suffering and towards Krishna and Balaram, brings us closer to the Lord. And where does that strength come from? It comes from Lord Balaram, the original guru. And he kills our passion, represented by Pralambasura, and he kills our ignorance, represented by Dhenukasura, and he takes pleasure in doing so. It's fun for him, right? He's actually happy. So when we have to confront our anarthas, it's usually not a happy situation. It's like, oh no, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do this right? Why does this desire keep coming up? Oh my God, this lust and envy, I can't get rid of it. So we become disgusted with ourselves, right? And it just seems like too difficult. But when we turn to Krishna and Balaram, for them it's like, it's just fun. They're like, all right, my devotees approaching me with they're struggling with lust and greed and envy. Let's just deal with that, just in the same way that they deal with all the demons that come to Vrindavan. So they actually like that when we turn to them and ask for their help for combating these inner demons from within the heart. And so, we just need, and the way we approach them is with faith, right? We approach the Lord with faith, and then we also approach him through our sadhana. Right? When we're chanting the holy names, we're approaching the Lord, and that's what we're doing. We're calling out to the Lord. Right? Oh Hare, oh merciful energy of the Lord, Srimati Radharani. Oh Krishna, right? The original person, source of everything. Oh Ram, Sri Balaram, who is the original guru, who is the source of all spiritual strength. Please help me. Right? I'm struggling. I'm having difficulty. I'm up against this obstacle in my spiritual life. I feel like I'm not making any spiritual advancement. Please help. And they're like, all right, for them, they just jump in like, let's play. We're going to kill some demons. So now I'm going to get you to do a little bit of introspection, if you don't mind, because we're all here to, not just to hear, but to grow, right? And so for that, we need to look within a little bit and see where our areas of improvement are, and then we can bring those to Lord Balaram. So I want you to pick an area of your life where you would like to come closer to the unlimited happiness of serving Krishna and come further away from the suffering of illusion. So some way where you feel like, you're still a little bit stuck in Maya. You're still a little bit like under the influence of illusion. You get bewildered by something, or you have a hard time you're still attached to something that is maybe not very beneficial for your spiritual life. So just take a minute to think of what that area of your life is, and then and how you can increase your spiritual strength in that area, perhaps through shraddha, how to strengthen your faith, or have stronger sadhana. And yeah, think of specific ways of changing your thinking, feeling, and willing in that area. So we're first of all identifying, right, pinpointing what is one area, and there may be more than one, but just think of one, right? Don't overthink it. Just think of one thing, the first thing that comes to your head, where you would like to improve spiritually, and then think of ways that you can direct your sadhana and your faith towards that area, and change your way of thinking about that particular thing or situation in your life. Okay, so just give everyone a moment of silence where you can do this, okay? And I'll do it too. Okay, did everyone think of something? Need more time? You good? Okay. So I won't ask you to share because I'm sure this is very personal, but you can, maybe when you get home, you can reflect and share together, with your partners, with families, with close friends, and you can get support and encouragement from each other. But for now, we'll offer a prayer. And dear Lord Balaram, please... Oh, you don't have to repeat it. I'm just thinking. Dear Lord Balaram, please give all of us the faith, the shraddha in you, and to take more and more shelter of you. And please let us have very strong sadhana so that we can control our minds, control our senses, remember you, and please you. Because by pleasing you, then we can get your favor, we can get your mercy, and we need that mercy. So let us do our part by doing our sadhana, doing our services with determination, with faith, with enthusiasm, patiently awaiting the bestowal of your mercy, with confidence that you will be merciful, because your nature is to be merciful. And if we just continue reaching out to you prayerfully and asking for your help, that you will help us, and having faith that that will happen, and that we can all become spiritually strong, become free from our material attachments, become free from the influence of the mode of passion, become free from the ignorance and illusion that bewilders us, and become situated on this transcendental platform, and enable us to serve you with transcendental senses so that we can experience that unlimited pleasure of spiritual life in divine service to you. Anyone who agrees with this prayer in full or in part, please unmute yourselves and say, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So let's just end this by, again, singing this verse here for Lord Balaram. Okay, you want to play with that now? Vahasiva Pushi Vishare Vasanan Jaladahava Bhagavati Veti Nirita Yamunava So maybe I'll just say a few words about the books.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you bring them to the children? This one of each. Yeah, so thank you all for your kind attention throughout the lecture. I hope that was enjoyable, relishable, and instructive also. So I brought two books, and I think you've seen this one before, right? Last time I came, I had a bunch of these.
Yeah.
The Living Gita, and I think most of you probably have this one, but anyone who hasn't, this is a complete translation and commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, and it's written in a way that's very easy to understand, very relatable, accessible for anyone, for young people, for new people. Yeah, it's just a very easy, reader-friendly Bhagavad Gita, and it's broken up into sections, and it's got catchy headings. So this is a nice book for teenagers, or for giving to people who have never read Bhagavad Gita before, or if you want to go deeper in your practical understanding of Bhagavad Gita and how to apply it in your lives, or if you give Bhagavad Gita classes, or if you want to start giving Bhagavad Gita classes and you need help for how to explain the principles of Bhagavad Gita to newcomers, then this is really helpful for that. And then this one is a new one that came out in May. It's called The Ancient Roots of Kirtan. So this is all about not just Kirtan, but any chanting of the holy name. So it talks about Kirtan, Japa, the science of chanting, the process of chanting, how to go deeper in our chanting, the benefits of chanting, how to optimize those benefits, and the culture that supports chanting, how to mold our lives in such a way that we can really focus and get the benefits of chanting. So everyone tells me that when they read this book, every time they read it, their japa goes from here to here. So if you want your absorption, the holy name, and the experience, the taste, and the bliss you get from chanting to go from here to here, then please get this book. This started off as my Bhaktivedanta thesis. So, and then I was working with a sannyasi mentor, His Holiness Bhakti Prabhupad Swami, and so I sent him I'd write a section and send it to him, and he would send me back feedback. And the thesis wasn't supposed to be a book; it was supposed to be, like a 15,000 word, paper. But he kept saying, "Develop this more. This is really good. Expand on this. Oh, you should explore this." And I said, "Maharaj, if I expand on it in all the ways that you want me to expand on it, this is going to be a book." He's like, "Yes, you should write a book." So with his blessings and encouragement, here's the book. And so it's very authoritative, because for Bhaktivedanta they require some high level of Shastric scholarship. So there are over 500 Shastric references. You'll see on the bottom of practically every page there's some reference from Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita or Sri Harinam Chintamani or one of our books, Vaishnava scriptures that glorify the holy name and what it is and how to chant. So this is a good book to convince yourself and anybody else to chant the holy name and to do so with purity and potency and achieve the results. So I've got plenty of copies. Grab a copy and I can sign in for you. I'll be sitting over here in a minute. And, thank you very much. You want to talk about it? Yeah. Another thing coming up is Bhadra Purnima. So you have Balaram Purnima, you have Bhadra Purnima. So the full moon day is a special day to do devotional service. And so for Bhadra Purnima, the goal is to distribute many, how many this year? What's the goal for this year? 108,000. Yeah, this is a global combined goal all around the world. Devotees all around the world are working together very hard to distribute sets of Srimad Bhagavatams. And we want to distribute 108,000 sets of Srimad Bhagavatams. So we need everyone's help to do that. So all of you, if you don't have a set of Bhagavatams in your home, buy one for Balaram Purnima. And if you know someone who doesn't have a set of Bhagavatams, get them to buy one or buy one for them. And we can also, the devotees also going out and distributing sets of Bhagavatams on the street or at different programs. And so you can connect with the devotees here who are doing book distribution and get your copy or get multiple copies to distribute. And that'll make a dent in this huge goal. Because if we all work together with enthusiasm, then we can do it. Right? Bhadra Purnima ki jai. Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Actually, it says, Rupa Goswami writes in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, our Nectar of Devotion, that if you have the Srimad Bhagavatam in your home, that's like having the Supreme Personality of Godhead residing in your home. So that's something very special. Okay, so I hope that you all get that blessing for your homes. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Please give a round of applause, Mataji, for such wonderful class and also enlightening us on the Lord Balaram and pastimes with Lord Krishna, and also making sure us to think more about our sadhana and shraddha. Thank you so much, Mataji. And before we go into the next program, just a few announcements. Please, if you can, everybody sit down. Really appreciate if you can sit down.